Hey, how you doing? This is RJ. Today I wanted to talk a little more about the state of comics in North America, especially for the big two, especially for Marvel, but I would include DC in this, and how their lack of editing is really the root of a lot of their problems. And I did a whole video about this where I would say the beginning of the lack of editing started in American comic books, but I wanted to focus a little bit about an idea that came to me while I was reading my comments. And by the way, I love all the comments everyone is putting on my videos. That's great. I don't have time to respond to as many as I would like, but I have everyone from ex-comic pros to scientifically minded people to gamers who give their own take on things, most of which I don't actually think about myself, and it gives me a new perspective. It gives me new ideas and new ways to go with my ideas and to explore them. And this is one of those ways. And it may seem like a small thing, but I think it's important to actually bring out, because it's the way that editing and the lack of editing in North American comics is affecting not only the market, but why we are here, why Comicsgate is here. Because one of the comments that I got was about the fact that, they're discussing how a lot of my models don't work in other places. We'll say in Japan with manga. It doesn't work. No, it doesn't work because they have a different system. Well, partially because I'm only speaking about North American comics and about most notably about superhero comics, although I do go into some other genres. But that's what I'm talking about, is because that's what my channel is about. It's called The Fourth Age because the Fourth Age is the age of heroes, and I'm here to talk about primarily superhero comic books, North American superhero comic books. A lot of my models don't work, and you take it and you move it over to Japan and their comics, and it doesn't work there because they have a completely different system. I agree, they have a completely different system, and their system includes massive amounts of editing. Now, this has been pointed out in my comments as well, and it is true, and it is true for them from the get-go. If you want to even show your work to someone, it first needs to go through editors, not to mention the level of editing that you would get in that environment when you actually got to publish something. And you got that laid on top of a Japanese mindset where everything is pretty well, all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed, and you have forms to fill out and all these other kinds of things. They have a very strict and almost hierarchical mindset, whereas in North America, of course, we have this mindset of we were built on a frontier. You have rampant individualism, and that's at the core of our society and our mindset. So editing is something that kind of goes against the grain of someone from North America. But if you want to have good art, you need editing. You just need it. It's not an option. It has to be in there. And that's the thing. It actually goes against the grain of most of the North American mindset. And trust me, speaking from someone who has to deal with editors, and it is something that is extremely difficult, because these people, you have something. If you're an artist, I agree, if you're an artist, you have a blank piece of paper and you fill it up. You create this thing out of primarily just your mind, right? And it is something that you can very easily see as simply an extension of you. And then you have these people coming along who are saying, cut this out, change this isn't right, this is slow, this is boring, get rid of that. And yeah, it can hurt. If you don't have a thick skin, it can hurt. But if you want to be in a business where your art actually has some kind of merit, you got to develop that thick skin. You got to take these editing remarks and say, okay, I don't agree with that. I completely disagree with that, but I'll sit with it for a while and I will just let it percolate through my brain and see if I can come up with something better. And you know what? When I did that, 9 times out of 10, I would say even 99 or 9.9 times out of 10, when I did that, I would come back to the edit and say, yeah, they're right. I'll redo this. Let me see if I can make it better. And it becomes better. And it makes it a better product. And my book that I am trying to get published, from when I edited it myself to when it was properly edited and gone through, I think it was like 6 edits by a professional editor, Yeah, oh my good heavens, was it a different product. It was so much better in every way. But you got to have a thick skin in order to actually get from point A to point B of that editing. And that's the problem right now with North American comics. And particularly because you have these SJWs, socialist-minded people in comics, not just in comics, but in almost every area of arts that you can think of, and especially in publishing. And I went over this in another one of my videos because one of the first things that socialists do when they start to gain power is to take over the presses. That is, historically, one of the first things, if not the first thing they grab when they start to take power, is so that they can control information, so that they can be the only ones putting out information for you to see. And that's what they do. And they have taken over more than 20 years ago our industries for book publishing, and you can see now for the comic book publishing. And the thing is, with these socialist-minded SJW people, they are people who have the thinnest skin you have ever come across. They are used to political correctness, and political correctness is what has killed editing, because if you have a person who is an artist who sees this art as almost an extension of themselves, and you have someone coming along like an editor saying, this is no good, get rid of this, you can't have that, you can't have this, change, 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 make it better, they're going to cry foul. They're going to cry, oh no, you're hurting me, you're attacking me because you're attacking my art, therefore you're attacking me because it's an extension of me. And that political correctness that has kicked into these editors makes them so wimpy, is the only thing that I could say, that they won't criticize correctly the people that are supposed to be helping, that they are supposed to make their work better. It just doesn't happen anymore because they're trying to be politically correct, and at the same time they're trying also not to be attacked by these people, to be called racist, thisophobe, thatophobe, whatever-ophobe, or any other kind of thing like white supremacist or anything like that. It's got nothing to do with these things, but they can't speak up and say, you got to get that out of there, that's just wrong, because at some extent they are afraid of these artists and that they're going to destroy their industry or their career that they have built up. So it brings to mind to me, a healthy person, a healthy artist who can take criticism. It brings to mind to me that old quote from, I think it was Mark Twain. He said, I love my critics. They work tirelessly and without pay to improve my work. And that, I think, is why Comicsgate is here, is because there is no editing in North American comics anymore. The editors have been pushed aside and have become so spineless that they can't actually edit these artists because they don't want to be called a racist or a white supremacist or anything like that, and they don't want to at the same time hurt their feelings because they're so politically correct, that us, the critics, are the only ones left to edit these people. And we are the ones crying foul, and we are the ones crying, this is garbage. Change this, change that. That's why Comicsgate exists to a great extent, I would say, is because we need critics out there, because these artists are not getting criticized by the people who are being paid to criticize them, which is the editor. So we need to be those critics. We need to be those people who work tirelessly and without pay to improve the work, not because we particularly might want to help this particular person, but because we want to help this industry. And you got the other layer of us having to be called racist and white supremacists and haters and everything else on top of what they are going through in the industry themselves, these editors. It's happening to us. We shouldn't be surprised. They are trying to push us into political correct corners. On the other side, these SJWs, that's what they're constantly trying to do. They're constantly trying to push us into political correct corners. They're trying to shame us into going in that direction. And we need to make sure that we never go in that direction. But at the same time, we can never forget that the reason why we are criticizing these things to begin with is not to attack the other people on the other side, is not to be malicious. It is to attack the art itself It is to make it better, and it is to provide constructive criticism that we can make and build and help produce a better industry. That is what needs to be done. To some extent, we need to make sure these people grow a thicker skin, because they have the thinnest skin in the world. It is ridiculous what some of these people actually come up with and how they actually view the world. And as I was going on in my videos about the Women of Marvel panel, to some extent, you got to admit that some of these people they're write-offs. There's no helping them. They have to be gotten rid of. They have to be gotten rid of. There are some people who have shown SJW tendencies who have now turned themselves around to some extent and start producing better stories. But there are some people that you can definitely see are never actually going to listen to critics, are never actually going to listen to editors. And therefore, we have to get rid of them in some way. And to some extent, that is speaking with your dollar and buying things that actually can produce a better product, buying from companies that can produce a better product, or buying from people directly, so in, let's say, our crowdfunded sources, so that we can actually have some interaction not only with these creators, but they will actually take our concerns into their mind when they're actually going to produce a new product the next time, either this time or the next time. That's what we need. We need people to understand, again, we need people who are creators, first of all, to grow a thicker skin, second of all, to jettison any idea of political correctness, and thirdly, to work against that American mindset of straight individualism where I can do this all myself. Trust me, as someone who's been on both sides of the fence, as an artist and as being edited for my art, you need to grow that thicker skin. And you need to realize that you need other people to criticize you and get you to produce a better product. Anyways, this was a bit of a rant. I didn't have any specific idea in order to bring out in this video, except the fact that to tie the lack of editing to what we are trying to do in Comicsgate. And hopefully I've given you something new to think about by going over this. Like I said before, everyone has been giving me certainly new things to think about in the comments. I love that. So leave a comment, leave a like, or hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. That would be great. And I actually have a lot of topics in mind, and I actually have a bunch of stores of videos that I'm probably going to publish in the next couple of days. I don't know if I want to publish more than one a day, but we'll see. All right. I'll see you later. Bye.